शिक्षा दीपक जलाने की प्रक्रिया है, पात्र भरने की नहीं. Today, by revisiting Buddhist education, we are not merely looking back at the history, but drawing inspiration for the future, an education system that nurtures both intellect and character, integrates knowledge and wisdom, and empowers learners to become not just successful professionals but also compassionate human beings. With these words, I would like to call upon the head of Department of Education, Professor Dr. Indra Singh, ma'am, Head Department of Education, to enlighten today's theme of revisiting Buddhist education, relevance in today's world, before the students and the audience. Ma'am, please.
थैंक यू वेरी मच मैम. सबसे पहले तो इस गेस्ट लेक्चर को ऑर्गेनाइज कराने के लिए डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एजुकेशन के प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर अनुज राज जी का साधुवाद कि उन्होंने एक बिल्कुल बहुत अच्छा टॉपिक चूज़ किया, रिविजिटिंग बुद्धिस्ट एजुकेशन, रेलेवेंसी इन टुडेज वर्ल्ड. इस बौद्धिक शिक्षा प्रणाली का हमारी शिक्षा में क्या योगदान है, हम सब इससे परिचित हैं. वैदिक शिक्षा काल, उत्तर वैदिक काल, उसके पश्चात हमारा बौद्ध शिक्षा काल. अब बौद्ध शिक्षा की या बौद्ध दर्शन की वर्तमान समय में क्या उपादेयता है. बौद्ध शिक्षा ने जो सिद्धांत हमें दिए, बौद्ध दर्शन ने हमें जो सिद्धांत दिए, उन सिद्धांतों में जब सबसे महत्वपूर्ण सिद्धांत है वो है अहिंसा का, करुणा का, प्रेम का, सद्भावना का. यदि आज ये सिद्धांत हमारे बच्चों के अंदर आ जाए, हमारे स्टूडेंट्स के अंदर आ जाए, तो शायद जो अनुशासनहीनता हमें बच्चों के अंदर परिलक्षित होती है वो हमें किसी भी रूप में परिलक्षित नहीं होगी. बौद्ध दर्शन ने हमें अष्टांगिक मार्ग दिए. ये अष्टांगिक मार्ग किसी न किसी रूप में हमारे रोज़मर्रा के जीवन से संबंधित हैं. अगर बच्चा, हमारा स्टूडेंट अगर इन सभी का अनुसरण करे, इन सभी को अनुकरित करने का प्रयास करे, तो निश्चित तौर पे उसका भविष्य भी अच्छा होगा और आगे चल के वो एक ऐसा नागरिक बनेगा जो एक बेहतर शिक्षा दूसरों को भी दे सकता है. मैं यहीं पर अपनी वाणी को विराम देती हूँ ताकि कार्यक्रम को सुचारू रूप से आगे बढ़ाया जा सके.
True education is not only knowledge of books but training of mind and purification of the heart. Respected dignitaries, esteemed guests, learned faculty members, and dear students, it is indeed an honor and privilege to stand before you to present today's inaugural of the lecture on revisiting Buddhist education, relevance in today's world. With these words, I, Dr. Bhuvnesh Sharma, Associate Professor, Department of Education, Faculty of Education, Swami Vivekanand, Subharti University, Meerut, I am fortunate enough to receive the approval of this lecture from Professor Dr. Praveen Kumar Sharma, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Swami Vivekanand, Subharti University, Meerut, and Professor Dr. Shailya Raj, Honorable Chief Executive Officer, Swami Vivekanand, Subharti University, Meerut, for her strong inclination and wish that every student should learn the real existence of the word education and how it is useful for us in highlighting the best developments. Keeping this objective in mind, today's guest lecture is being organized. Buddhism is, as a philosophy and a way of life, has contributed immensely to the field of knowledge, ethics, and social harmony. The Buddhist tradition of education, rooted in compassion, mindfulness, and pursuit of truth, it is not only a part of our cultural heritage but also a beacon of addressing the challenges of the present times. When we revisit Buddhist education, we are reminded of the great seats of learning like Nalanda, Vikramshila, and Takshila, which is attached scholars from across the world. These centers emphasized not only intellectual training but also moral development and spiritual growth. The central aim was to create a balanced individual, wise in thought, compassionate in action, and responsible towards the society. Now, I would like to call upon Dr. Praveen Kumar, Associate Professor, Samrat Ashok Subharti, School of Buddhist Studies, Swami Vivekanand, Subharti University, Meerut, Uttar Pradesh, India. Sir, please share your immense knowledge with us. Sir, please.
Thank you, madam. At the very outset that I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to the Honorable Founder of our university, Dr. Sri Pramod Kumar Sharma sir, as well as the CEO ma'am, who kindly allowed me to share my thought about the Buddhist education and its importance in the present scenario. Apart from it, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Sri Anuj Kumar sir, who gave me this wonderful opportunity to share my knowledge about the Buddhist education and how it is relevant and important for in the today's globalizing world. But before talking on the Buddhist education and its relevance, I would like to inform you about the teaching pedagogy of the Buddha. What I mean that the teaching methodology of the Buddha, how Buddha brought new things in the method of in the teaching which was not existing in the previous era. At the very outset that I would like to inform you that I will utter some the Pali verses and a Pali quotation from in the Tripitaka, and in the light of that I will explain the meaning. When in the Siddhartha transformed himself into in the Siddhartha to in the Samyak Sambuddha, which means that a fully enlightened one. The term Samyak Sambuddha means that a person who attained enlightenment without taking help of anyone, he is a Samyak Sambuddha. And when he became transformed himself into in the Samyak Sambuddha and formed a first Bhikkhu Sangha, he instructed his disciple that you move in the society for the welfare of in the maximum number of people. In the Pali quotation that is there, Charat Vikkhve Charikam Bahujan Hitai Bahujan Sukhai Lokanukampai Atthai Hitai Sukhai Dev Manusyanang. Now you move in the society for the welfare of in the maximum number of people and don't move two in the one direction, that please move one in the one direction. So they would be able to cover a larger area. And this was a revolutionary change in the ancient Indian history, because before that, this system of education was confined only to the few higher start of the people, that a system of the Gurukul was there and education was confined only to the elite population. It was the Buddha who made the education available for each and everyone. This kind of system is known as a peripatetic kind of education, and it is only prevailed in this Greek civilization, and before that we don't find this kind of education anywhere. In the Indian tradition, philosophical tradition, Buddha was the first thinker who introduced and this is kind of the education, and this is known as a peripatetic kind of education. Here we find that the thirsty people, Ganga river moves to a thirsty, and many thirsty people quench their the thirst of knowledge by taking the water from in the Ganga river. So what was the Buddha concerned? That Buddha first taught humanity about a concept of suffering, novel truth. In Hindi, this is called Ard Shat. What is this, the novel truth? Novel truth, Ard Shat, means at the truth which can be understood only by the enlightened one. It is not possible for the ordinary individual to understand all these truths, that a suffering, cause of suffering, cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering at the experiential level. When in the Siddhartha transformed himself into the Buddha, he became a Buddha, he became enlightened one. He eradicated his all defilements and became the enlightened one. Then he understood this suffering at the experiential level, and this kind of knowledge is known as a bhavnamay pragya, a knowledge, a wisdom which is based on his the experiential wisdom. Now I am coming on the four novel truth. I explained about that meaning of the novel truth, and now I am coming on the four novel truth. This first novel truth is suffering, dukh. That Buddha explained that suffering is a reality of this world. Here it is important for us to understand. Again, I am quoting this Pali quotation, using a Pali quotation. When in the Siddhartha transformed himself into the Buddha, he uttered a first word that anek jati sansarang santha vishang anivissang gahkarak gavesanto dukkha jati punang punang gahkarak dithosi punang gahangna kahasi sabbate fasuka vagga gahkutang vishakhantang viskharagatang chittang tanhan khaya mejkati. He understood suffering at the experiential level. He did not get it from anyone else. He did not read it from any book. It was his experiential wisdom, and at the level of experience he felt, he realized that okay, this suffering is a reality of in this world, and what he felt, what he realized, he shared with the humanity, and during the 45 years of his teachings, he taught humanity about this reality of this world, that suffering is a reality. Be aware about it. Then the second novel truth, again here I am coming, that this suffering, this Buddha went very deep into it. That when he delivered his first sermon at Isipatan Migdao, there he classified suffering and went very deep, contemplated very deep. He divided suffering into the three parts. One is a physical suffering, another one is a biparinam dukkhata, and a third one is the sankhara dukkhata. Here he categorized suffering into the 8 parts. That is the jati pi dukkha, jada pi dukkha, maranam pi dukkho, apiyehi sampyogo dukkha, piyehi pipiyogo dukkha, yapincha na lapti tampi dukkham, shakitena pancha padanu khandapi dukkha. This is birth is suffering, old age is suffering, association with unpleasant thing is suffering, separation from pleasant thing is suffering. Whatever we want to find it, we try to get it. If you don't find it, that is the object of suffering. And again, this whole world is made of in the 5 skandhas, that is a suffering. This is a first categorization of in the suffering made by the Buddha. Second important thing is a biparinam dukkha. Sometimes in the scholar raise a question that Buddha was a pessimistic. Is there anything in this world is a suffering? Buddha means that everything, every conditioned thing is a suffering. Even the pleasant thing, whatever we get, we find that is also an object of suffering. Why? Because that is the impermanent, that is and the anitya. In the moment when we find it, we become happy. In the moment we lose it, we become sad. So this, because of in the impermanent nature of in the worldly character, that everything is a suffering. Third one is a sankhara dukkha. Unlike this Upanishadic thinker, Buddha believed that a human personality it is made of in the 5 skandhas. He did not believe in any permanent soul or the self. He believed that a human personality is made of in the 5 skandhas, and that is a Rupa Vedana, Sanya, Sankhar and Vigyan, and technically that is known as a Nam Roop. Nam is a mental and Roop is a material, and that is also suffering because that is impermanent. So this is a broad explanation of in the first novel truth, which Buddha went very deep into it, and he delivered during his first sermon, which he delivered in the Sarnath, Varanasi, and that event is known as a Dhammacakkapavattan. This Dhammacakkapavattan, feel of moving a chakra. The second one is Dukkha Samudaya, the cause of suffering. Why we are suffering? We are suffering, it is because of our desire, it is because of our cravings, that a craving is responsible for in the suffering. And again Buddha divided this craving into the three parts. One is a Kam Tanha, second one is a Bhav Tanha, and third one is a Vibhav Tanha. Kam Tanha, desired for sensuality; Bhav Tanha, desired for the worldly existence; and Vibhav Tanha, desired for to harm others. These three are also the name of a Tanha craving, and that is responsible for our suffering, for our dukkha. And the third one is the cessation of a suffering. Suffering can be ceased. And the fourth novel truth is a path leading to the cessation of suffering, and that is known as a eightfold path. That the first one is a right view, second one is a right thought, third one is a right speech, fourth one is in the right action, fifth one is in the right aim, fifth one is a right means of livelihood, sixth one is in the right effort, seventh one is in the right sati, and eighth one is in the right mindfulness. What is this a right view? We need to understand here. Right view is that our view, it should be a right, it should be the perfect, it should be in the correct. And according to Buddhism, that what is a right view? Generally, we do not know about the fourth noble truth, that a world is full of suffering. We do not know about the Kushal Moolas and the Akushal Moolas. Kushal is a bad Moolas and Akushal is Kushal is a good Moolas and Akushal is a bad Moolas. Lobh, Dosh and Moh, these are taken as a bad Moolas in Buddhism, in the Buddha teachings, and we must get rid of it. That we are not generally aware about in the Paticca Samutpad, that a dependent origination, that is also a wrong view, and knowing of all these things is just opposite a right view. So when in the moment our view, it will be the right, our thought, it will be the automatically correct. This niskamana, that there is no desire for anything, that is in the right thought. When at the level of experience we understand that everything in this world is impermanent, everything in this world is changing, that we will not keep a desire for anything. This is a nishkamna, adro. We will not keep the enmity, anger for anyone, and amo, that our ignorance will be automatically removed. That is in the right thought. The third one is in the right speech. Right speech means that our speech, it should be a right, it should be the correct. We must refrain ourselves from the false talking, the false speech. We should correct the things which is right. We should not try to tell things in the exaggeration. These are all the right speech. And again, is it the right action? Right action is a panchashil, that refrain from killing, refrain from stealing, refrain from the sexual misconduct, refrain from the intoxicating. That is the right action. And the fifth one is the right means of the livelihood. That Buddha was a very practical thinker. He was aware of in this fact that there must be the means of in the livelihood, and there are 5 kinds of in the trade which are the strictly prohibited in Buddhism. The trade of flesh, the trade of meat, the trade of poison, the trade off in the arms, the trade of this another the bad things. These are the 5 kind of the things which are the strictly prohibited in Buddhism, and that is known as a right means of livelihood. Let me tell you an important fact that based on that, E.F. Sumachar, during long back, during the 1977, he has written a book, A Small is Beautiful, and which that Sumachar has written one chapter, Buddhist economy. This entire Buddhist economy is based on the right means of livelihood. Then the 6th one is the right effort. That right effort is a vipassana. We must prepare ourselves that not to originate a bad things in our mind, the desire in our mind. And if it has originated, it is our duty to destroy it. That is the first and the second. We should try to keep the good things in our mind, should try to understand the teachings of the Buddha of impermanence, dukkha and anatma, and we should try to cultivate it time and again, time and again. That the 7th one is the right sati. Right sati means smriti. Smriti here it does not mean to remember things. Smriti, right mindfulness, is to live in the present. Generally it is our habit that we think in the term of past and we think in the term of future. Human mind is a very fickle. It is rightly written in the Dhamma literature that a vandalam chapalam chittam durakhang tunnivaryang ujung karoti medhavi uskaro atejnang. That a human mind is a very fickle. It's just like a monkey. It moves from in the one branch of tree to another branch of tree. Dudakhang, it is very hard to guard, and Dunnivaryam, it is very hard to restrain. And a Buddha prescribed that a Sati and Sampanjanya, these are the 2 techniques through which we can control our mind. Sati means to live in the present. So right mindfulness. That right mindfulness, it is component of in the 2 words, that a Sati and a Sampanjaya. Sati means that to live in the present. Generally our habit, we think in the term of past and we think in the term of future. And human mind is just like a monkey mind, as it is rightly written in the Dhamma literature, Chittavag, that a vandalam chapalam chittam durakhang tunnivaryang ujung karoti medhavi uskaro atejnang. So right mindfulness, that a Buddha means that to live in the present. And how we can live in the present for this, that a Buddha introduced 2 mechanisms. One is a Sati and another one is the Sampanjaya. Sati means that to live in the present, and Sampanjaya means the information, knowledge about the anityata, knowledge about the dukkha, and knowledge about the anatma. And the 8th one is the right meditation. Right meditation is a meditation our all kusal chit, it should be concentrated at in the one place. This entire 8-fold path are divided into in the 3 parts, that is Sila, Samadhi and a Pragya. Sila is a ethics, it refers to ethics. Samadhi is a concentration of mind, and a Pragya is a wisdom, knowledge of a wisdom, emergence of a wisdom. Sila, that a first sila is at the refrain from killing, that it is a very important, which emphasized on in the ahimsa, compassion. Our heart, it should be and the compassionate. And Buddha talked about in the 4 Brahmvihara, in which that a compassion, karuna, is a second one. Ahimsa is a main component in the main teachings of in the Buddha. So refrain from killing, refrain from stealing, refrain from in the sexual misconduct, refrain from intoxicating, and refrain from in the slandering speech. This is a seal which makes person purify by mental, and vocal. The second one is the Samadhi, and this Samadhi is again divided into in the two part, that one is and the samat and another one is and the vipassana. What is samat? That we must understand here the differences between the samat and a vipassana. Samat, that a Buddha first started his practice with the samat meditation, but he realized that he was only able to control his a conscious mind. He realized at the experiential level that a lot of activities takes place in the subconscious and unconscious mind. It was a question before him that how to control this subconscious and unconscious mind. He discovered that a vipassana. Vipassana, this word is made of in the two part, that vi and passana. Passana is a Pali word which means to see, to look, and vi means a special, to look something from in the special perspective, that is the vipassana. What we look that there are two kind of sensation. One is in the pleasant sensation and another one is in the unpleasant sensation. We find everyone like to have a pleasant sensation and everyone dislike this unpleasant sensation. But we feel during our meditation that neither a pleasant is permanent nor and the unpleasant is permanent. When the both of them are impermanent, then why to hanker after it? Why to run after it? This is a consciousness, realization of anityata of all conditioned things, and that's why Buddha said that a sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya pasti. Every conditioned thing in this world is impermanent, and Buddha realized it at the level of his experience. This is an entire eightfold path, vipassana meditation. It is an inward journey which makes up people pure. This is a journey which takes people from the ignorance to wisdom, from darkness to light, and finally from in the suffering to happiness. That second important teachings of the Buddha is that paticca samutpad. Paticca samutpad is the law of dependent origination or conditioned arising. It is applied to explain that a dukkha and a sansar, the cycle of birth and death, repeated existence, it is a causal chain with a 12 link. This is divided into in the 12 component, 12 link. One is in the avidya, another one is in the sankhara, the third one is in the vijnana, the fourth one is in the nam roop, the fifth one is in the chalayatan, the sixth one is in the fasya, then the seventh one is in the vedana, eighth one is in the tana, and ninth one is in the upadan, and 10th one is in the bhava, 11th is a jati, and 12th is a jaramaran dukkha domnasya. We need to explain that we need to understand the meaning of each and every word, every component. Avidya, which means that ignorance, generally we are ignorant. As I told you earlier, that a common masses, ordinary people, this word puthujan stands for them in the Pali literature. They don't understand the existence of the worldly thing, that everything is suffering, everything is impermanent. We have a craving, that is the avidya. And because of our craving, we try to achieve something which may be useful for us to give us and the pleasure impermanently, and the action which we perform, that is known as a sankhara, that is and the karmic formation. And the third one is and the vijnana, that we entered into in the mother womb, that is and the vijnana. And the fourth one is and the nam roop. Nam is a mental and roop is a material. That entire human personality is made of in the nam roop. In the nam, that a chit and chatsikam, and roop is a roop. Nam roop salayatan. Ayatan, it means a door, and salah, this is word 6, that there are 6 kind of faculties which are concerned with the particular object. Our eyes, it sees something. Our ear, it hears something. Our nose, it smells something. Our tongue, it tastes something. Our mind, it thinks something. That is, and the shalayatan. And shalayatan means that shalayatan, it gives rise to a fuss. Fuss means that we keep in contact with other things, and a fuss means a vedana. Vedana is a feeling at an experiential level, that there are 5 kinds of in the Vedana. Sukhad Vedana, Dukhad Vedana, Asukhad Adukhad Vedana, Domnasya Somnasya Vedana. Vedana, it gives rise to a tanha, and tanha means a desire, and tanha, it gives rise to the upadan. This is a strong desire, and upadan, during a strong desire, again we come in this world, that is a bhav, and then the jati, our birth, it takes place, and jara maran dukh domnus, and then we become old and we become a died. This is a cycle which continues, and Buddha realized it, and he tried to understand the 4 noble truths through this Paticca Samutpad. This second noble truth is then the Paticca Samutpad. This 12 link, it can be compared with the scientific principle, gravity of law or Sapachitika ka Siddhant, E is equal to mc squared. But the differences between this law and that is and the physical law, in order to understand the Buddhist science, it's a Paticca Samutpad. One heart, it should be pure and clean. Defilement must not be there. In the absence of in the defilement, if our heart, it is a clean, our mind, it is and the clean, then only we can understand this 12 link of this Paticca Samutpad at the experiential level. Again, this is an the inward journey, a journey which takes human being from in the darkness to light, from ignorance to wisdom, and finally from in the suffering to happiness. This entire Buddhist philosophy, teachings of the Buddha, is based on the 3 words, Panyarati, Patipatti, and Pativedhan. Paryati, Patipatti, and Pativedhan represents the 3 progressive stages of understanding and internalizing the Buddha's message. Paryati is a theoretical study of a Dhamma or Buddha teachings through learning and intellectual analysis. Patipatti involves putting the theory into practice in daily life and focusing on meditation and ethical conduct. And Pativedhan is the ultimate stage, the direct experiential realization of the truth through these practices, leading to a wisdom and a spiritual awakening. Number of the Buddhist institutions developed across the country like in Nalanda Mahavihar or Bikramshila, their acharyas and the teachers, they taught their disciples about the teachings of the Panyarati, Patipatti, and the Pativedhan, and it has a great utility for each one of us even in this modern world. Now generally people ask a question that Buddhism is a religion or it is a philosophy. Perhaps when we go by the teachings of the Buddha, we come on this conclusion that Buddhism is a philosophy and a religion both. That we can say that Buddha's explanation of the cause of suffering through the law of dependent origination is a philosophy. His extensive use of reason and argument to show a dependence of one Dhamma used in a wider sense upon another is also a philosophy. But his exhortation to tread the noble eightfold path and live a brahmacharya life to annihilate the cause of suffering and experience nibbanic bliss is a religion. Thus Buddhism, philosophy and a religion both are converged. I have talked about the philosophical teachings of the Buddha. Now I am coming on the social teachings of the Buddha. Buddha's views on the caste, class and the varnas, and a Buddha's views on the women. That by the advent of the Buddhism, that Indian society, entire Indian society, it was based on the varna. There were the 4 varnas. One is a Brahmin, the second one is a Kshatriya, the third one is a Vaishyas, and the fourth one is a Sudras. And the origin of this Varna goes back to in the Rigved of the 10 mandalas of the Purush. And again, in the Brahmanical text, Satpat Brahman, that again we find this concept of Varna there. And according to this Varna system, inequality prevailed, exists in the society. It was the Buddha who introduced this rule, who made it that people become low and high not by taking merely birth in a particular caste and community. He become low and high by his action. It is his action which determines that either he is a Brahmin or he is a Sudras. The famous proverb in the Pali literature, in the Sutta Nipat, Vasal Sut, na jaccha vaslo hoti brahmano, kammuna vaslo hoti, kammuna hoti brahmano. No one becomes a Brahmin by taking merely birth in the Brahmin community, and no one becomes as the Sudras by taking merely birth in the Sudras community. It is your action which determines that either you are a Brahmin or you are a Sudras. Now that Buddha's views of women, that Buddhism is the first religion perhaps where it is founded, opened the door of its Sangha for the equal benefit of the male and female both, and a large number of the female took advantage of opportunity created by the Buddha, entered into in the Bhikkhuni Sangh, and they made their life. They got an opportunity to get rid from the shackles of in the patriarchy and played a significant role in this in the spreading of in the Buddha teachings. Some of them emerged as an eloquent preacher, and some of them emerged as an extraordinary and developed the organizational skill. It was again in the revolutionary era, revolutionary things with regard to the women in the ancient Indian history. Now I am coming on that importance of the Buddha's teachings in modern time. The Buddha, apart from being a perfectly enlightened person, was a great thinker of his times. His teachings are as important and relevant today as they were in his times. What Shakespeare has said about a kleptodon can well apply to his teachings. Age cannot wither her, nor custom can stall. So age cannot make his teachings irrelevant. There are two things which I would like to make it focus, and that a problem of consumerism. We are living in the era of consumerism and a globalization. Most of the things that we want, just not genuinely we need it, but we want it. Stronger nations are destroying weaker nations for economic gain. I would like to inform you that Americans have consumed the entire resources in the last 40 years, what in the entire nation has not consumed in the last 4,000 years. What is the reason behind it? The reason behind is at the human greed. It is because of our greed that we even commit and the crime in order to accumulate more and more money. But when we understand at the experiential level that everything is impermanent in this world, then we will not go for any criminal activities. So Buddha teachings can guide us, can help us to lead a harmonious and a peaceful life. It is not necessary that only a poor people commit a crime. Wealth too is responsible for too many ills in the society. But when our mind it becomes and transformed, when we understand everything at the level of experience, that everything is impermanent, we understand that a concept of interconnectedness, that we are connected to each and every individual. Our suffering may be for other suffering, and our happiness for maybe for other happiness. It may be very helpful for us to lead a peaceful and a harmonious life. And then is a social issues, caste, class, and a women. Again, this is society. It is divided into in the varnas, and the caste. One higher start off in the society, dislike in the lower start off in the society. That friendship, it is based on the caste and the varna. But Buddha taught us that nobody becomes a high and low by taking merely birth in a particular caste and community. So if we try to understand that the teachings of in the Buddha is an action, that an action is important, that there will be no inequality in the society, and everywhere there will be peace, harmony, and a universal brotherhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Praveen. You have just emphasized on the revisiting Buddhist education relevance today's world. Really, it is a very great lecture you have delivered today. And the lecture highlighted timeless value of Buddhist education and its contemporary issues. In addressing modern challenges, it emphasized that Buddhist education is not limited to monastic training, but represent a holistic system that nurture intellectual growth, moral development, educational balance, and social harmony. Really, you have touched also the key aspects discussed, including the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path as a guiding principle for the ethical living and the critical thinking. The lecture underlines how Buddhist approaches to mindfulness, compassion, and self-discipline can contribute to reducing stress, fostering peace, and promoting sustainable lifestyle in today's competitive and materialistic world. The speaker also connected Buddhist education ideals with the modern pedagogical, pointing to their applicability in value-based education, conflict resolution, and environment responsibility. Also, he included the mental well-being by stressing interdependence and non-violence. Buddhist education was presented as the pathway for creating responsibility global citizen. In conclusion, the lecture reaffirmed that the revisiting Buddhist education can provide the meaningful insight for reforming contemporary education system, making them more human, inclusive, and sustainable. Thank you, sir. And now we are just closing ceremony, and you have given the very much informative lecture, and definitely our students and the listeners will be benefit for this lecture. And I want to just propose my vote of thanks, because first of all I express my heartily gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Praveen Kumar, Associate Professor, Samrat Ashok, School of Buddhist Strategy, for delivering such a thoughtful, provoking, and insightful lecture on revisiting Buddhist education relevance in today's world. Your words have truly provided us with a deeper understanding of how Buddhist education continues to guide us in addressing contemporary challenges. I take this opportunity to sincere thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor P.K. Sharma for his inspiring leadership and consistent encouraging that motivates us to organize such meaningful academic events. My deep appreciation also goes to Dr. Salyaraj, Chief Executive Officer, of her continuous support towards academic growth and excellence at Subharti University. I also extend my thanks to our respected Professor Dr. Indra Singh, Head Department of Education, and Professor Dr. Sandeep Kumar, Dean, Faculty of Education, for their guidance and encouragement in making this event successful. My appreciation also goes to Dr. Bhuvnesh Sharma, Associate Professor, Department of Education, who moderate the program with the great efficiency and ensure its smooth flow. I would also like to acknowledge the efforts the organizing committee, faculty member, and technical teams who worked tirelessly behind the scene to make this hybrid lecture seamless. Finally, I thanks to all the participants, faculty, colleague, research scholar, and students, and all Subhartian for your active involvement and presence, which added great value to today's lecture. With this, we bring the program to a close. Thank you all once again, and we look forward to many more and enriching academic interaction. Thank you. Jai Hind to all.